I'll be with you shortly. Good morning. Other than my allergies, I'm fine. Thank you very much for asking. We're going to talk about a very general question, and it's a very generalized question for anyone, really. Under certain sections, there are different punishments. What is the odds that somebody who is, say, convicted of a cybercrime, that they're going to get any jail time whatsoever? Now, while a lot of people out there are pretty much yelling, the guillotine, the guillotine, the guillotine. I remember a French movie or something when somebody was going to be convicted of something. The crowd gathered and some French lady, I think it was, and he asked, the guillotine, the guillotine. Well, nobody's going to get a guillotine. But the laws vary with cybercrime. There's corporate cybercrime, which carries different types of sentencing and so forth. One could say that one could get off with just a fine, and a lot of times that happens. That's up to the judge, but you know, you have to basically weigh out the gravity of the particular cybercrime. Is the person have a violent tendency? Did they cause disruption in a courtroom? There's a lot of things. It really goes by the initial evidence that was presented in an affidavit. Anything more, and that goes to both parties. Anything more that is outside of the affidavit and counter affidavit of the person or persons in question would need to be addressed, excuse me, with my allergies, with another case. That's just kind of how it works. I could bullshit you till the cows come home, but my show is not based on bullshit, okay? Just facts. I'm not going to over-glorify something, and I'm not going to under-glorify something, with lack of better wording, but sometimes it is what it is, and it's always ultimately up to the judge. Now, I've seen some case histories, and yes, people have gotten jail time for cybercrime. It's according to have different sections, 4A, C, or 4C4, whatever, and they all vary. They always talk about prison correctional, is what they talk about all the time. But not always. Now, understand something, that even if you are convicted, conviction does not necessarily mean jail. But even if you are convicted of a cybercrime, you will not be able to come back in the country. It's not like you're going to get a year, and if you're a good boy and pay your fines and all that stuff, that you're home free to come back. No, it's not like that at all, actually. In combination of maybe two things, where you have a criminal trial on you, but in combination of that, there was also an immigration issue. As an example, they've already been incarcerated, and it basically shows the judge that, well, I don't know, this guy's kind of a troublemaker. I can't impose just a fine on him. But you see, I don't know this. I don't know this. And I'm not going to. I said I wasn't going to talk about this shit before, but I did a hell of a lot of reading this morning because I got up at 4 o'clock. Guess my air conditioning was kept a little bit too high. Um, and did a lot of reading. And I do a lot of reading all the time. I research this kind of stuff all the time since I am actually involved in a case going on presently against somebody else. So, generally speaking, it's ultimately up to the judge. It's not when you look up what is the penalties of a cyber crime, and they will mention correctional, prison, however they word it. Uh, it's not always that. And it's not always just a fine either. It could be a combination of a fine and imprisonment. And that alone itself is definitely going to be a permanent blacklist there. In my understanding, I have something going on here, and the other party is, my understanding, he's permanently blacklisted. It's not going to be like a year thing or anything like that. But if he's convicted of a crime, this particular individual, yeah, it's definite. He's not going to be able to come back into this country at all, despite his hopes and dreams and beliefs. And I don't think it's gonna, you know, I don't think it's gonna go the way that he hopes to go. But ultimately, we can speculate and yell the guillotine, and whatever all you want. But it's not ultimately up to the plaintiff to set the rules and guidelines. The guidelines are written, but no matter what is written about, they always give in a cybercrime case plus, they added a plus to that. They always added a 1% or whatever it is, 1 degree plus whatever the charges are. Again, it's up to the judge. It could go either way. You could go to court, you could have a case dismissed based on a technicality, or the judge just may say, well, slap him on the wrist, give him a fine, and deport his ass. Anything could happen. You see, I have an open mind about this. I've always said that. I don't put in writing anywhere that somebody's going to get jail time for anything. But I can't say either that the person would not get jail time. It's not my decision. If the judge had to, for example, in my case, if the judge had to ask me and said, what would you like me to do? Well, that's a different story, but it doesn't work that way. But it don't matter, because you got to understand that either way, if you are convicted, conviction does not necessarily mean incarceration. Understand that. But it doesn't mean there won't be. It's that roll of the dice type of situation. And ultimately, it's up to the guy behind the desk, or, well, behind the camera. Okay. But he has to have an understanding of deep down what's really going on, and that goes on through testimony and stuff like that. So, witnesses and actual evidence and stuff like that. So it's a good topic here. There's a lot of people, they're yelling about the guillotine and all that. Of course, I'm using a little poetic license with the thing about the guillotine and all that. Although some people deserve the guillotine, but, and some people don't. But that's a little extreme, I think. I would think so. But I think everybody has to pay a price for their crime, if they're found guilty. And just the very fact of having to go to trial on something does not reflect well, in combination if they had other issues going on legally, does not look very well for the individual who has to be thrown out of the country and wants to come back, or expects they can come back after a year or so, or whatever the case may be on that. It doesn't always work that way at all. So I would advise people to stop speculating. Speculation is just what the word is, speculating. as to how severe penalties are in the Philippines for cybercrime. It is a big issue, actually, in the cybercrime. And it don't matter what fucking nationality you are, American against American. They don't give a shit about that. They don't give a shit about that, whether you're American against American. Did you break the Republican Act code to 10175 and in four parentheses C4 under the guidelines and Republican Act of the Cybercrime Act? Did you break the law? Did you not break the law? That's the question. If you did and you present the evidence, there's a good chance that, yes, the person can get convicted. But again, the question is, what is the punishment for such crimes? Now, if you spend some time reading, you'll see a lot of variations on such. So there is no way of definitively saying that jail time is something that someone's going to get. See, I'm kind of handling this with kid gloves in a way. I'm kind of like in a position where, you got the person to court, okay, which was a monumental thing to happen to begin with, to be able to get to that point. The person has served already for one of the crimes a considerable amount of time being incarcerated, although not like prison mayor, as they say on there, although not in a prison correctional atmosphere, but still, it's jail, no matter how you look at it. Whether it represents a Motel 6 or something or not, it's jail. If it has bars, it's jail. If you can't walk the streets freely, it's jail. Now, a lot of people out there, in a particular case, they talk about, well, I think the guy has served enough time and all that crap. Well, that's nothing to do with me. It's the guidelines that they set forward, that if you happen to be in a situation such as immigration overstay, long term, by the way, especially, it's a violation of the law. It's a crime, no matter how you look at it. It's not an administrative thing that you hear all the time. No, that's bullshit. It's a crime, or else you wouldn't be where you are. All right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm not wrong. In light of that, say the person has some other charges against them, it really doesn't look good in a court. That not only are they in there for one specific thing having to do, like, let's say, cybercrime, okay, but the judge to see that you're in there with handcuffs and you're being escorted by guards and they already know that you're kind of a troublemaker because, you thought you were above the law and immigration got you, and in the judge's eyes, he's not going to be looking at this person with leniency. Generally, you would think so. Generally, is the judge going to have a good day or, whatever? Did he have a bad day with his wife or family, or when it comes time of sentencing or whatever? There's a lot of things that kind of play into this that most of you don't see out here. But you see, I'm a realist. And I'm not going to sit here and say that he's going to get 10 years, this individual, prison. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that he could get off with a slap on the wrist, be a good boy, get the fuck out of the country, but you're not coming back. Even that would work. Because if he can't come back into the country, he's not going to be trouble to anybody out here. Myself, anybody else, job done. And if that's the court's decision, of course I'll accept it because I have to. Although maybe I have expectations of more, and that might still happen. But as a plaintiff in a situation like this, you don't have grandiose expectations in a court because you just don't know what the judge's decision will be. You have to think to yourself, okay, the very fact that the person already has a summary deportation means he's going to be escorted out of the country. If there's a combination of things going on, like immigration and a criminal case, the likelihood of being able to come back after a year or so, whatever, is highly unlikely. Now, in my situation, it is my understanding that there is a permanent blacklist. Now, if I'm wrong about that, I guess I'll find out. But this is my knowledge. But it will be a guarantee if convicted, and even if only a fine, if only even a fine, will not be able to come back into this country whatsoever. Okay? No matter how egregious the person is in finding fault with the plaintiff, the truth always comes out. You either did the crime, you didn't do the crime, and then it goes to a point where the judge says, "Okay, we heard all the evidence. We got witnesses, we got paperwork, we got videos, we got screenshots, we got it all." And the judge, and I don't think it's exactly like in America, where the judge is really going to spend all this time to go through everything. I just got that feeling that that's really not the case. He'll look at the surface of the evidence. He'll certainly have to hear any visual evidence and so forth. Um, so you would tend to think that, the judicial system out here kind of mimics America on their judicial platforms and courts and how they make decisions and what kind of consequences come from things, or how much time they actually spend on looking at the evidence. Because here in the Philippines, you got like 40 cases in one day that a judge has to go through. If you think he's going to remember anything a month later, probably not, until that case comes up, and then he does a quick review of the notes of the last hearing to refresh himself on what's going on this. That's kind of the way it works in the courts out here. That's a lot of information I'm giving you here, because that is true information, how it works. Like I said, for those people that want to see the guillotine in action here, they may see a little bit of it, but they may not see a lot of it, or they may get their wishes, but it may not be what they want. I think in reality, but one thing you got to understand, these are separate issues. A lot of people say, well, they'll get time served if they're already incarcerated for one reason or another through another entity like immigration. No, that's separate, and that's not time served. From my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong if you've ever done the research, but what my understanding is, and at least the information I got from my attorney, and I got to sneeze at some point here, is that is not recognized, because they're two separate issues. And I got to sneeze. Damn. I don't know. Tommy boy. I don't know if Kevin could get back in the Philippines. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why he didn't directly come here, because Big Kevin is not going to tell you everything. Well, what's new with that, with everybody? They're not going to tell you the truth. I think there's a reason why he didn't go to the Philippines. Probably because he probably got blacklisted in the Philippines. But he's not blacklisted in Vietnam or wherever the fuck he is these days. I think that's the reason. But he's not going to tell you that. Just like anybody else is not going to tell you. Hello, Mr. Merciful. Just like anybody else is not going to tell you the truth about anything else, okay? But you're used to that. You've been on YouTube long enough, the truth does not always prevail on YouTube. At least on YouTube, it doesn't. But rumor mongering and everything else that goes on. If you had to believe everything everybody said, I'm like one of the biggest criminals in the world, running after little children or something, for God's sakes, and going out there to kill people and chopping heads off and whatever. I mean, this is YouTube, okay? YouTube. Now, some people label YouTube, well, this is all entertainment. Well, it may be entertainment to the person who commits certain crimes, but it's not entertainment to other people who are the receiving end of their crimes. You could label your show entertainment, whatever the hell you want to do. Is it really entertainment? Is that some kind of a titlement or a title of a show? Or the context of your show and you want to label it as entertainment, as if to say that everything you did was just based on entertainment. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way at all. Now, so as far as, we're not going to make an extremely long show here. We're winding down, folks. I got to tell you, we are winding down here. And you'll know what that means in the future. Um, there is no solid, uh, I don't have any solid expectations. If you really want to know where I stand on this,
You buy coffee?
yeah, okay. Yeah, I wish I could. I can't have anything this morning.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and take care of yourself. But don't, later on I'll eat something. Vicky was supposed to pay them, but he hasn't yet. This is according to Kevin from his thing. I don't give a shit what they do, man. I really don't. I just know who the scoundrels are on here and who people were pretending to be friendly with me. And I even met certain people that pretended to be friendly, even buy me lunch or dinner or something. But then behind my back, they're against me and doing things behind the scenes that, I anticipated. See, I'm pretty smart. I'm pretty good on figuring people out for the most part. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty good. And I've met certain people and I made my own assessments and I went from there. I don't trust anybody on YouTube. And that's why I don't go around meeting a shitload of people because that's not my forte. I don't mind talking to people on YouTube, but meet and greets and stuff are very rare for me. They're very rare. They're very rare. So, um, you can set your own expectations pretty high, but I think you have to lower your level of expectations on anything. Okay, I mean, personally, and I have a situation going on here. It it makes me feel good that the individual has served already, even if it's on another issue, but being related to the current issue, has been incarcerated for a said period of time. Some would say, well, hey, that's punishment enough. But understand there's a criminal case involved, it's not civil. And people are very easy to label people. Well, the other case in Hawaii, it was a civil case. I get so tired of hearing about this and little children and all this bullshit. I'm being called a groomer. Well, then he turns around and says, no, I don't think he'd ever touch any children. Well, he's got that right. Okay, but I think he's a groomer. And that's just as bad as calling somebody a pedophile. There ain't no difference, really. They're on the same fucking level. And has the balls to come on a show and even say that. I mean, there's your intelligence level of the individual right there, as per their own demonstration. And this is not just my opinion, it's by their own demonstration. And yet to come back on after having cybercrime charges on them and can't help themselves but come back on and do shows again attacking the very person that they should be kind to, that's in the fucking driver's seat. You know? You know, a driver could do anything he wants. He could go veer himself off the road and go head into a head-on collision if he wants to. He's in the driver's seat. He controls that fucking vehicle. And controlling means that what is he willing to do about a culprit, a perp, who did something horrible against him? He has that choice. He wants to let it go. He wants to take it to court. You're in that driver's seat once the prosecution says, yes, we're taking this to court. Not the other way around. I have a court case against somebody. They don't have a court case against me. Let's keep that in mind, brothers and sisters. Old Teabag there. I gotta call him Teabag from that movie. I call him now Teabag because he's just like this guy in the Prison Break movie. They call him Teabag. Just like him. Old Teabag there, man. He has grandiose expectations of what's going to happen. They ain't going to go my way, meaning my way. My way or the highway, he says. Well, it doesn't work that way. You don't have that control. And guess what, brothers and sisters? I don't have that control either. Admittedly, I'm more realistic than Teabag. Okay? Teabag is not realistic. He's thinking, they're going to dismiss me on a technicality. Who knows? Maybe. The fuck do I know? I don't think so, but, whatever, whatever, whatever happens, happens is what I'm trying to say. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm in it for the long ride, no matter how long it takes or how much money it takes. I'm in it for the long ride, brothers and sisters. I'm in it for the long ride. And where it goes, round and round she goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. Roll the dice, get snake eyes, or get a lucky seven. Fuck if I know. It's called gambling. Gambling. Are you all gambling people out there? You willing to gamble a little bit? Okay, the odds of Mother Karma and the law system, everything combined, will come to their ultimate decision on any case, no matter what it is, whether you committed murder, rape, any kind of crime. It is ultimately based on the evidence, witnesses, and how the judge feels about the whole damn thing. And whether he had a damn good day at home with his kids or whatever it might be, ultimately it's up to the man. I don't even know if they wear clerks out. They wear these coats out here, court clerk, whatever you call them. Whatever. Whether they come in a T-shirt. He is the judge. The judge is the judge. Is the judge. Is the judge. Is the judge. It is not my decision. It is not the respondent's decision. It is up to the man in the T-shirt with a black cloak, whatever cloak. It's up to him. He's God in a courtroom. And the way I see it, wherever it goes, it goes. Oh, no, wait a minute. I don't make it want to sound like that I'm giving up on this. Or I'm afraid it's not going to go in the direction I want. No, 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 no. Don't even go there. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying that I have an open mind. It could go this way, or it could go the other way, or in between. That's all I'm saying. Because I don't make the rules. Neither does anybody else on YouTube. Whether a person gets the goddamn guillotine or gets his hand slapped enough to make a bruise, ain't up to me, brothers and sisters. Ain't up to me at all. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's see. Sebastian is having spasms again. I'm not sure which. I can't get all my... Can I read the upper comments on here? Okay. All right. Why does he seem so confident he will be deported? Well, if he knows something I don't, but if anybody would know, my lawyer would. Look, you could put a report in on anybody. Okay, but you still, no matter what, even if a bad decision was not made on your half, something you don't want, you still have the right in the court system to fight any decision at all. Okay, you have that right even here in the Philippines. Okay, with that being said, for a moment I thought you were Al Pacino. You have talent. Well, Frank has a radio voice. I got a voice. Multiple personality says absolutely. Jack Doe says, what happened to the GAC? I don't know what happened to GAC. He just maybe decided he didn't want to put his personal business out on YouTube. He just got so sick and tired of the bullshit, like a lot of people probably should do. Oh, we're in that direction. Believe me, I know I give the talk all the time. So please forgive me on that. And how many times I said I'm going to be off YouTube. I know. I ask myself the question all the time. Don't even say nothing, dude. I say to myself, don't even say nothing. Don't say anything. If you're going to get the fuck off, then you just get off. They'll either think that you're dead or you just got tired and you get off. I mean, it was ridiculous of me to ever bring up the fact that I'm getting off YouTube. It was even comical to me. I mean, believe me, I took these statements in a in a sense that well, in a sense that it wasn't sensible for me to say that if I wasn't 100% sure that I was cutting the cord. So forgive me for that. I mean, I meant it all those times. I always do. But I've always been a person that had something to say, and I wasn't afraid to say it if it was the truth. If it was the truth. There's a big difference between what I do and what some people do. I will say something that's factual as I could call it factual, based on somebody's, I use this word demonstration quite a lot, because it's true. Based on somebody's demonstration of what you see and what you hear, I make my own conclusions on what's fact or what is actually fiction. Okay, and ultimately the goal when it gets to a courtroom is presenting fact and fiction, whatever. You know, the judges are not stupid. I'm going to make this abundantly clear to everyone. These judges have seen and heard it all. Okay? The one thing I could say that doesn't go good against something, if they're already and by the way, in this particular case, he said he ain't going to wear no handcuffs in his next hearing. Guarantee you, word is out already, he will have handcuffs on. Not because I'm afraid of him, because it paints a picture to the court that this guy can't be trusted, that there was a court outburst. Lord knows I'm not afraid of that guy, no matter what my age is. No matter what my age is. I do have capabilities, and I'm built a lot differently than he is. But we're not going to get into that physical violence type of shit. I don't do that kind of shit. And I'm not stupid enough. And I hear all these, how come you didn't do nothing to me in the parking lot? Because I have a brain, that's why. And I use my brain. If I'm going to have a court case against somebody, do you think, honestly, that I'd be that god-dang hillbilly stupid to go in a courtroom or outside the courtroom grounds, or even outside, to get in a physical confrontation with somebody that I have a case against? Hope that answers his question that he posed. That's why I did not approach him in the parking lot. And I had a lawyer with me, 2 lawyers in fact. Count 1, 2. The count. 1, 2. Don't be afraid, I won't bite your neck. Because I'm not that stupid. When I have a case against somebody, don't bust my balls, man, is what I'm saying. Don't bust my balls. When you bust my balls, you get your balls busted back one way or the other. That's just the way it is. Say what you want, how innocent you are, that you never harm a fly, that you never did anything to anybody. You can say what you want, and so could I. I could say that shit too. But, you know, when shit comes down, it all comes out in a wash. Okay? Judge is not stupid. Okay? Judge is not stupid. He's not stupid. He's been there, seen this, done that. He knows and could sense. He could look at somebody and say, that guy looks pretty goddamn, looks rough around the edges. You know, and he's already incarcerated for another crime. So sometimes, not all the time, brothers and sisters, you know. Oh, by the way, that band, I did a short on that. It's the Soggy Bottom Boys. Now I remember, it was a George Clooney movie. Father, Who Art Thou, or something like that was the name of it. It was a George Clooney movie, and that was George Clooney, the one that was more prominent singing on the video. And I knew he looked familiar. I couldn't figure out who the fuck that was. And he was trying to hide from something, I don't know, going on. You have to go back to the movie. It's been years since I've seen it. But I love the song. I love the song and the dancing and all that. Yeah, it was George Clooney, man. George fucking Clooney. And by the way, he has a voice, George Clooney. He really does. Okay, let's see. All that saltpeter may be put in the food. The shill. Oh, there was no outburst. Were you there, Jay? What are you now supporting your partner in crime? Jay comes on my show. There was no outburst. You weren't there, Jay. You have absolute no play in this at all. You were not in the goddamn courtroom to say that. There was no outburst. It's been witnessed by the court clerk, by two of my attorneys, by his attorney, and probably by the judge on camera. So when do you come in putting a comment like that in there? Get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck off here. You still sticking up for your partner there, huh? Huh, Shill? Really? How interesting is that? We had a lot of conversations privately in the past, didn't we? It didn't sound like you were really big on this guy. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. There was no outburst in the courtroom. That won't be decided by you, Jay. You weren't there. Jesus Christ, man. Jay, I seen your guns, but your legs, they shrunk. All right, this ain't a show about Jay. Hope you're having a good day, Jay. I really do. I've nothing against you, Jay, but I think your choice of friends is kind of lacking. It's questionable. It's your choice of friends. That much I could say, brother. We're all brothers. Under God, we're all brothers. Oh, really? One way or another, brother. Yeah, but don't base something, Jay, on speculation. Unless you were there, you don't know what the hell is going on. I'm trying to tell you, Jay, that's all. Okay. Got your coffee. Don't worry about me. I don't have to.
I don't want to share you. Coffee.
Ah, you eat. That's okay.
I love
Oh.
it.
Yeah. But I respect your opinion, though, Jay, anyway, though. Thank you for sharing, anyway. But you're really off base with this. You weren't there. As much as you want to see justice for your buddy that you spent so much time with and roommated with and cavorted with the ladies and having your fun and all that stuff, this is not relevant to you to make a statement. Well, yeah, there was no outburst in the courtroom. There certainly fucking was. The bad thing about it is happened just when they were starting a new case and they actually interfered with a new case that was being presented in there. You just can't do that kind of shit, J-Boy. You just can't do that, man. Well, I know he claimed he was a crypto millionaire, but I know he lost his shoes several times. I don't get into that crypto shit. It's too volatile. Some people have made money, but then they got greedy and they lost it all, or the market just crashed, whatever. Some people can make a lot of money in that. But, I don't have any interest in crypto. It's really bizarre to me, the whole concept of it, really. You don't really have any actual money. You're dealing with a fictitious coin, that has a certain value to it. But you don't have that coin in your pocket. I don't know. Crypto is weird. Jay has it all except legs. All right. Well, let's stop attacking Jay. I'm not attacking him. So don't attack him. He's had enough attacks on him and his family in the past. Give him a little break. You know who the culprits are. They went deep and heavy on him. They should not have done that. But they did. As they always will be. All right. Keep Jay out of the picture on my show. I took him off because I didn't want to hear his bullshit. Coming up with a lame statement like that, there was not an outburst. What the fuck do you know, Jay? There wasn't an outburst. Come on, man. Just be real. It's a lame statement, man. It's an find a word on this one. Well, let's just say it's to no witness of you, okay? To come up with a statement to say there wasn't an outburst when there absolutely was. You love Jay, all 4'3". Okay, let's Let's leave Jay out of this, okay? Come on, be fair. Be fair. I could jump on his case for the whole show and say you're full of shit, you know. I already said what I had to say in regards to his statement that it wasn't an outburst. I'm finished. I'm done with it. Just leave him alone. Jay has a right to his own opinion. But unfortunately, opinions are based on fact. He wasn't there. So there you go. He doesn't know any better. It's just that he has a certain amount of affection of some sorts, and I don't mean sexually, for his good friend. So he's just sticking up for him. Always has. He always will. No matter what he said to me privately on anything, people don't always mean what they say or say what they mean. See what I'm saying? Okay, so I gotta wind this up. Got hit with my allergies again. It's not as bad as it could be, but I could handle my allergies, no problem. As uncomfortable as it could be sometimes you have to deal with stuff, right? Am I right or wrong? Sometimes you have to deal with stuff. Sometimes you're forced to deal with stuff. You may not like it, but you deal with it. You make lemonade out of lemons. Sometimes you're able to do so. And make a damn good lemonade out of it, too. Damn good lemonade out of it. Oh, we forgot to say hello to Popeye. Everybody say hello to Robert. Hey, Bob. How's it going? Did your house get obliterated by the storm? Did you get your mobility scooter to high grounds? Hope you're well, Bob. I really do. Be well, dude. Be well. What else are you going to be? If you can't be well, then you're unwell. Keep above high water. Keep your head above the water. There you go. That's how you handle it, folks. You don't yell at the guy and, call him a lot of expletives. Unless it's necessary. But even that doesn't work. You're not going to change a person, okay? You know what? Me, you, everybody out there. You could have your moments of anger. You could yell out anything you want to somebody, but if you think they're going to change, do you think some people have the ability to change? Some people do. But there's a lot of people that don't. It's like ingrained in the person, their personality, their demeanor. There's some people who could change if they're willing to change, but if they're not willing to change, it's not going to happen. You keep on saying I'm right and the other person's wrong all the time. When you know you're wrong, well, that's a problem. But that's more of a personal problem with that person, not with anybody else. See what I'm saying? Okay, guys like 50 plus and live with his... Has it all except a house. Guys like 50 plus and live with their mom. Well, I don't know. If he made money from his Bitcoin, you would think he'd be living independently from his mom, but, there are times that you lose money in that, too, and you might need to live with your mom, so maybe he likes his mom, Look at Nico. He loves his mom. Ain't nothing wrong with that, but I think he's just a little bit too close to his mom, Adhere to somebody when they have life, cherish them, love them, and all that good stuff. But sometimes you gotta, go to that apron string and unknot it and untie it, and and let your hounds out. Just go on with your life and be a little bit more independent. But 50 years old plus, and my mom, my mom, my mom, and every sentence about his mom. That's a little bit overkill, I think. A little bit overkill. And that's all I got to say about that. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, okay, I got some shit to do, so I want to thank everybody for coming in here and offering their opinions, but, Remember, opinions are just such. They're opinions, okay? And opinions are not all factual. It's just an opinion, okay? And opinions are also not criminal either. But you see, everything in life is based on an individual's own, here we go with that word again, their own demonstration. Is it a continual demonstration? There's a big difference. Where there's just some outbursts of anger at some point. Well, maybe you said something that maybe wasn't very nice. But the question is, how long did you continue this particular action of words or otherwise? Was it continual with the same person over and over and over again? That's the big difference. That's why some people have court cases against them. They didn't learn when to stop. Hey, we all get mad about something. We're human. We're imperfect creatures, organisms on this earth. There is no perfection with the human being. None. There will never be. Remember, you'll step over your own neighbor's fucking head, crush his head. If a disaster happened and you had to save yourself and your family, you step on your own neighbor's fucking chest and head and crush his head, whatever it took. You're in a goddamn fucking stadium of some sort and everybody's going to rush to the doors because there's a big fire or there's a shooter going on. You're going to be that cattle, the famous cattle of society. You're going to be the cattle, and your legs are not going to stop. And nobody and nothing is going to get in your way. You hear me, Teabag? Nobody or anything is going to get in your way to get to that entrance and get to safety. That is human nature. That is human nature. And we got it all within us. Some people are more so cattle than other people. But people are basically cattle and they will follow the first cattle, whatever they do, whether they jump off a cliff. The rest of the cattle is going to jump off that cliff. That's just the way it is. So, folks, you get your hopes up or not get your hopes up. If something's going to happen and it's meant to happen, then it will happen. We don't all get to make our own choices on something. We can make a choice to do something legal against somebody. But is it going to go 100% your way? Perhaps it will. Perhaps it won't. But I look at things a little bit differently than most people on here. I look at the present situation. You're right, I said situation. I look at things differently. Is the person already being punished? Yeah. Yeah. If they got off in court on a particular charge, case get, example, dismissed or reduced to a lesser or a slap on the proverbial wrist, I see things differently than you people do. I look at the overall picture. The overall picture. Now, of course, I didn't spend my time, effort, stress, and money to go to court to have the court say, it's okay. He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. To err is human, Mr. B. We're just going to slap this puppy on the wrist and hope that he's learned a lesson from all this. Man, I don't, look, I see things differently. As far as I'm concerned, I already got what I wanted. And anything else is just icing on the dang cake. You want the truth? Anything else is icing on the cake. If it had to be a contest, I would have won this a long time ago, but I'm not in contest with anybody. It's not a game. Okay? We're not flipping cards. We're not playing poker. Faith is what faith is. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And if it's not, then it won't be. That's why I think different than a lot of my viewers. That doesn't mean that I think it's not going to go my way. I'm just saying that it could go either way. I got an open mind about that. I'm realistic. I don't control the buttons in a courtroom. I have no control of those buttons at all, or what the judge thinks, or what he wants to do, or what he thinks he should do. I don't play any part of that. We could only, by counsel, enforce the laws of what we felt was a crime that was committed. Although the person doesn't see, will not ever admit or realize that he's did something very wrong. He says it's just a bunch of words that we have heard so many times him say that it's getting so fucking old. It's not just words. Nobody hurt somebody's feelings. My feelings are not hurt, as he puts it. No, my feelings are not hurt. It's what words you use and the gravity behind the words that you used and the ongoing effects that those words have had on the complainant. The ramifications, you like that word, ramifications. The ramifications of certain words can destroy somebody's life. You don't call somebody that word, I don't care how much you hate them, on a regular basis as if it was a fucking radio talk show and the only subject of that talk show was labeling somebody that they're not what they're not. How would you take to that personally? You got to ask yourselves that question. I just get really tired of talking about this whole fucking thing. But I figured I'd get my opportunities in here to say what I need to say and address even the questions that the person who's involved in this has for me. And I have answered those questions more than once in many ways. You know what you did? Denying it is not going to make it like it never happened. You cannot change history. You can lie all you want, but it doesn't make you innocent of your crime. Lying is crying. Face the reality. There's a court case which you thought would never come to fruition. Face the fact that you eluded the immigration for 7 years, but you got caught. Face the reality. That's reality. You admitted you're wrong on that. And you had no choice to admit you're wrong because you knew that everybody else knew. You knew what you did was wrong. Now you're faced with something a little bit different. An actual trial. A trial. Okay? May the best man win. That's all I can say. Where she goes, nobody knows. But I thought it was really imperative for me to go in this direction. If I did not think that this was a direction I should have gone in, then I would have never pursued it. But sometimes things get a little bit ugly. Fugly ugly. And you can't just sit there and say, yeah, man, maybe I understand that the guy's not thinking very clearly, and I could go deeper than that, but that'll turn into some legal shit. I won't even offer an opinion on that. But I will say that you're not thinking very clearly when you did something that you shouldn't have done on a regular basis. As I said, you know, there's a free get out of jail card sometimes on that monopoly of life. where you say something you didn't mean out of anger, but there's a big difference between saying something out of anger that might not have been cool, but when you continue this tirade, when you continue to do it over and over again, that kind of changes the course of things. See what I'm saying?